The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM software, or its advertisers.
News Talk is online. News Talk Online, a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet, with more than 4 million unique users on demand on iTunes and on YouTube and on my site, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you are encouraged to post your comments, whether you agree with me or not. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated into an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you all to the show. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. In the last two presidential elections, there were all kinds of allegations of cops stopping people from getting to the polls in Florida and hanging chads and debulked election machines that were not properly counting ballots in Ohio. But we have this all straightened out now. We've had 8 years to figure this out. Now we find out that in Michigan, I've discussed this on this show already, but I shall refresh our collective memories. The chairman of the Republican Party in Macomb County, Michigan, one of the key states, is going to try to challenge votes in the African-American neighborhoods, challenge the right of a person to vote. Obviously, African-American areas would tend to lean toward Democrat Barack Obama. What he intends to do is go there with challengers armed with addresses of homes that have been foreclosed, and if you come to vote and that's your address that you're registered at, challenge your right to vote. The Democratic Party is challenging that in federal court, and John Conyers, who is a Democrat and who represents Detroit, and who is the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, is also investigating. But, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? And now we hear that in Ohio, the Democratic Secretary of State is trying to block Republicans from voting absentee ballot. And, you know, a full 1/3 of the votes this year probably are going to be cast absentee. So here we have a Democrat sticking her nose in and allowing her partisanship to get in the way of what she is supposed to do as the chief election official in Ohio, and that's ensure that everybody has an opportunity to vote, no matter what their party affiliation or lack thereof. Well, one guy has been on the forefront of reporting about all these messes for the past 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years, I don't know. Brad Friedman has a blog. It's called Brad Blog. He has talked about a controversy in voting in San Diego as well. There have been a number of documentary films that have shown his efforts to ensure that people get an opportunity to vote. He's addressed the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, the Texas State Legislature, other governmental and non-governmental organizations. He's regularly seen on ABC News and on CNN. He's a contributor to the Huffington Post. He's written articles for The Guardian, Mother Jones, editor and publisher, Computer World, the Columbus Free Press, Salon.com, TruthOut.org, Harvard's Nieman Foundation of Journalism, and Boaz Frankel's favorite publication, Hustler Magazine. Brad Friedman, welcome to News Talk Online on Paltalk.com.
Hey, Gary, great to be here. How are you, sir?
Great to have you with us. Haven't we learned here in the United States of America, haven't the officials learned that they're not supposed to be tampering with our right to vote? Why are we going through this again already?
We have learned absolutely nothing, and your listeners ought to know that we are in no better shape than we were back in 2000, and arguably much worse shape than we were back in 2000. And I can explain why, but I wanted to clear up something right off the bat that you had mentioned in your opening, if I could. You had mentioned, well, first off, I do this stuff. I'm not a McCain supporter, an Obama supporter. I do this stuff. I don't care about right and left. I care about right and wrong. And, if there are Democrats doing bad stuff out there, why, I'm happy to beat them up as much as anyone else. That said, there is undeniably and demonstrably currently a Republican war on democracy going on in this country. Now, that's not to say that the Democrats aren't in incredible denial about what's going on, and it's not to say that the Democrats aren't in no small part responsible for allowing these untested, error-prone, easily hackable voting systems across the entire country to litter the landscape. And that's what we're facing certainly this year in 2008. But you had mentioned Jennifer Brunner, and Ohio Secretary of State. And I just sat down with her a week or so ago in an in-depth one-on-one exclusive interview, which just ran yesterday at Alternet. And I wanted to hit that point that you mentioned about her denying Republicans the vote in Ohio. That's actually not what happened at all, despite some pretty insidious partisans out there trying to make that case. In fact, Peter Bronson today in the Cincinnati Enquirer posted something that was so demonstrably untrue that it was stunning that it even was allowed on their on their pages. And I may be doing an op-ed for them in response to it. Basically, he said, as you did, that, I'll quote from the first paragraph, the Democrats' latest stunt rejected absentee ballots for thousands of Republicans. And I think you used words that were similar. In fact, no absentee ballots have been rejected from anybody, period. What happened was the McCain campaign sent out an incorrect mailer to millions of Ohio voters, and they've had an aggressive campaign to do this all over the country, and a lot of these mailers had a lot of, we will call them mistakes in them. But the one in Ohio, the mistake was they included a checkbox that said, I am an eligible voter. Now, some people didn't see that checkbox, apparently, and sent it in without that checked, which meant